All right, we are live. Today is Thursday, April 21st. Is it Earth Day? It's tomorrow. Tomorrow, maybe? Sometime soon. Anyway, it's April. Springtime. This is our fortnightly design and user experience meeting. And before we get into the agenda, we should go around and do some quick introductions. I like to do popcorn, where one of us calls on another one at random, so we all have to pay attention the whole time, which isn't too bad, so there are not too many of us. I'm going to go first. My name is Jen Lampton. I'm joining from Oakland, California. I'm interested in looking at what's coming up for the next version of Backdrop today. Let's see. Martin, you want to go next?
I'm Martin in the UK, and always interested in making Backdrop a better user experience. Go to Robert.
Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet, coming to you from Altadena, California, and lately working on Civi CRM Backdrop buggy interactions. And I guess that leaves Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota, and yeah, nothing too special to report today. So
great. First item on our agenda is the layout page cleanup issue. This is issue number 5077. It's an effort that Robert and I have been working on to make the layout listing page make a little bit more sense to people. It looks like we've got some feedback on here recently. This is great. It's still labeled needs code review and needs testing.
Yeah, I think
but
it works. And I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but maybe since Martin had some comments and recently and gave it a thumbs up on the last answer, it might be familiar enough to get review and code testing, perhaps. No pressure.
Yeah, probably can. I'm just trying to find my
So I don't.
It's as I think you've alluded to, I don't think there's any easy answer to the wording around the default paths, as that without making it really wordy and with lots of caveats. Now, where is the... Yes, so I have said I think it looks great. Now, where is the PR?
Yeah, that's a lot of words, isn't it?
What I don't know is whether I feel the changes are within what I can. Yeah, probably looks like. Yeah, I'll give it a review either later or tomorrow.
Thanks.
I think if I can understand what the code's doing, and then I generally feel confident reviewing.
If you're not confident with the code review, you can also add the works for me label, and we can kick it up to core developers. Usually always do another code review afterwards. So if it's like close enough, sometimes just that RTB-C label will get it on their list of stuff to review.
Yeah.
So you won't be you're not the last gatekeeper, if that helps with a little more confidence in those reviews.
Yeah.
That's actually good to know. Because I've been nervous about doing code reviews because there's so many little things to miss. But it sounds like if I give it a college trip, give it a good try.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sort of feel the same way, where it's like, I know, the core committers are a lot more thorough than I am, but if I can help remove like 3 of the things they might spot, I'm still saving them time. So it's like, if we can get somebody to look at it and be like, yeah, it looks good, they'll look at it again. But hopefully we'll help a little bit on the way there.
Do you have any thoughts on the wording around the kind of how it sort of covers the default thing?
I'm taking a stab at some shorter language. Just not repeating the subject. So I saying stuff like them and which one rather than which layout, or over these layout overrides, which just sort of decreases words. And then I rearranged the last sentence, which was really long, which layout gets used, into 2 sentences that are a little shorter. It's still long. Anyway, but we could work on it. Another thing too is the text language. That's something that we can continue to change after it gets in. Sometimes it's nice to be done with it, but if it's if it's better than it is now, sometimes I'm like, let's just make it better, and then we'll make it better again later. So yeah, especially if we think we would come back to it before the release, then that means we still only have to do 1 translation update. So I agree, it's still wordy though.
The words changes that we're talking about is changes in the expanded how layouts work block, right? Because we want to keep the rest of it short.
Yeah. So the text that, just for anyone who's watching this video, the text that's contentious and rather long is the description for the layouts that override existing pages. And it says, these layouts will override existing pages on the site. Without these layout overrides, these pages would use other layouts. Which layout gets used would depend on the visibility condition of layouts whose paths match, or possibly one of the default layouts if no other layouts match. And it's long, complicated sentences with a lot of words, which is hard to sort of, even just reading it, your brain kind of struggles a little bit. And so I recommended slightly shorter text. These layouts will override existing pages on the site. Without them, these pages would use other layouts. Which one would depend on the path and visibility conditions. If no other layouts match, one of the default layouts will be. So it's a little shorter.
So this was the point I was asking about. It seems like that additional explanation belongs in the collapsible how layouts block work. Because once a person understands that, they don't need to see that whole block of text every time they go to that page.
Yeah.
And so what I was sort of encouraging was that we keep the sentence underneath the heading to 1 line, so it doesn't take up all space. and put
Yeah.
a clearer
Mm.
explanation up in that expandable block.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So we're gonna need, let me see the expandable section.
We'll probably expand that kind of second main bullet.
Hmm. We might want to add another section into how layouts work that just specifically defines layout pages versus layout overrides.
Yes.
And then we could move the without these layouts, these pages would not exist section of the first of the layout pages description, in addition to the longer explanation of layout overrides section. So it would shorten the text in the description on the landing page for both, and then we could elaborate on the description in the how layouts work section.
Yeah.
We just don't, it does not really a exact perfect fit to put it with the second bullet, and those bullets are sort of already a little complicated with the nesting and everything. So I think we might just have another section that's layout pages are, layout overrides are, and that might help.
Yeah, I think that I think that would work quite well because if you take out the second sentence of the bit under the layout overrides heading, then it becomes a lot clearer, and then you can put the fuller explanation up above. You don't then get, if you can leave while the second question under layout page, the second sentence under layout pages works. If you take the second sentence from layout overrides out, it actually makes it clearer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will add a section to the collapsible and remove both second sentences below the titles.
And you could, I was thinking you could start with something like there are two types of layouts, and that would introduce the fact that we're about to differentiate them.
Yeah, and then two bullets, which then map nicely to the two sections.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yep.
Good idea, Robert.
Do that.
Okay, I'm gonna close this. All right, shall we move on to the next item in the agenda? So this is issue number 3245, and this was a recommendation to remove the next steps section of the database update interface if there are no next steps, which makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think it's, from what I can tell, but I haven't worked out exactly how best to test it, because knowing exactly which, I think the tricky thing is knowing which modules to try and think, whereas a database update happened, how do I install an older version to then either force an update or have one that doesn't have an update? And knowing that, it probably makes it's not a very standard one to test, because you've got to kind of mess around a bit with which versions of modules you've got and know what you're doing. But I think it sounds like Laren's done it. It probably just needs testing. But then I think the and I mean, I don't know whether I've got too simplistic a view of it, but I think 4320 could be a quick win that would sort of enhance the improvements. So if we had both of those, it could be quite a sizable improvement to the UI of the updater.
Yeah, I think it would be nice.
But I don't know if I'm just taking too simplistic a view about it, and whether it's because what I don't know is how many different scenarios I have to cater for in terms of things failing or things partially failing. Or if it's just a case of just moving things.
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly how that process works now, but it should be straightforward to tell if your site has to run database updates or not. And I think we have another issue to make sure your site comes out of maintenance mode when the database update's complete. So we might only need to just not bring it out of maintenance mode before you run the updates, and maybe it would do that automatically at the end of the database updates anyway. So yeah, I think we could find whatever that line of code is commented out and run it and see what it looks like without it. There might also be something that detects whether it needs to take it out of maintenance mode for you or not. And that could be a little bit more complicated in figuring out how that gets set. Yeah, and then building tests for this could be a little tricky. There's probably some tests already for the user interface updating. And hopefully we could just add a new scenario there, but we can look into that.
So do you think there is something in there? Because as far as I could tell from when I have updated from the UI, while the database updates tells you should put it into maintenance mode, I don't think it currently helps you at all with it. I think it tells you should do it, but it's already taken you out of maintenance mode and do it. So I'm not sure that it would that there is actually
I remember
any code that takes it out.
I remember there being an issue of wanting to do it automatically, but I don't remember if that got in or not. Just doing a quick search here. Oh man, we have a lot of issues related to maintenance mode weirdness. Another one. There we go. Maintenance mode enabled automatically but never disabled. Here, this is issue number 3956. So I think it is turned on. When I choose to update my site using the self-update feature, step 2 is put your site in its maintenance mode. But when I run the update, my site enters into maintenance mode even when I don't want it to. So there is something that automatically does that. It's called update finished. Where it's supposed to unset.
Oh, I don't know.
Here's another one. Okay, so here's the issue that did get in that I was thinking of. This is 3550, and this is when you update a module through the UI. It looks like it does put it in maintenance mode for you and then takes it out of maintenance mode for you. But it doesn't do that for core updates, which is what the other issue was about.
Ah, right, okay.
But yeah, I think in general, our update process needs a lot of user experience improvements. Greg has a whole series of issues on the project browser specifically. And I think our update process, even if you're not using the project browsers, still has some issues we should work on. So yeah, I think any amount of help we can give this will really make Backdrop feel like a more finished product, because updates are just a part of owning your site and everyone's going to run into it at some point.
Yeah. Right, so that's probably well, I don't think I've noticed that, so I'll have to say on a lot of my development sites, I always tick the box, untick the box, so I don't bother putting it into maintenance mode when I'm doing it, because I'm the only one doing anything on them, so I don't bother. But so I'll have a look at that one as well.
And then there's one other issue I stumbled across, the maintenance mode user experience improvements that still bothers me on Drupal as well, where if you have a site and you've done everything you need to do, and then there's a button that's like, your site is in maintenance mode, go online, and you click the go online button, and then you get to a page that doesn't obviously indicate how to go online. Because the maintenance mode box is there, but it's checked and it says put site in maintenance mode, and there's no like action that matches go online. Where at very least it should uncheck that box for you and be like, if you've clicked this link, let's make it so that if you hit save, you're actually doing what we sent you here to do. And I think in order to do that, we'll need to add like a query string to the end of the go online link, so that when you get to that page, it's got that value there. And then the form itself needs to check that value and change the default if you've clicked that link. So I don't think it's a complicated change. But I think when I opened that issue, it started a little bit of a is the checkbox really the right interface for this question? Which is another conversation that we should maybe revisit too. And I don't know if that has to happen in the same issue, but I think that is what started it. So.
And my own pet peeve and an issue I opened is just the words "go online."
Yeah, I also agree. That's weird phrasing for.
I am online. What do we mean?
I'm online. My site's online. It just happens to be showing this page. Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So. Yep.
Okay.
Oh man. Okay. Do we have a link for the go online text issue?
I just saw it a second ago. I can find it.
Probably linked from this one.
Oh.
Go online.
Well, I saw it a minute ago. Oh, here, 3418.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna add that in here too.
There's for 3050, which I think is the maintenance mode should be unchecked by default for go online link.
Thank you. Okay, fantastic. I've grouped all of those issues together in the agenda under maintenance mode issues. So maybe I'll call it updating as well. It's a next steps link.
What? I'm just noticing this issue that I have has a milestone of 1x-future. What does that mean? I didn't know we had such a milestone.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a lot of value in adding that milestone. I think at the beginning we had a whole bunch of issues that we tagged as 2.x issues, and then at some point we realized we could do it in the 1.x release as long as we figured out a backwards compatible solution. And so we just changed something that was previously slated for 2 to 1 that way. But 1.x basically is the same as not having a milestone on it. So I'm not sure it really means anything. It just means we can do it now if we want to. Just like many other issues that don't have a milestone.
Okay.
All right. Those are all user experience issues. I don't know if we have any specific design issues we want to revisit. Nope. Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about today? If not, we could end this meeting early and I'll go fix maintenance mode issues.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Well, why don't we stop the recording, Tim? And then I'm going to hang out on the Zoom until the next meeting starts. So feel free to linger if you'd like.
Okay. I almost ended the meeting.